Hi, you guys. So I hope you guys are having an awesome night tonight. Whether it's daytime, whether it's nighttime, I'm not sure where it is, where you guys are from. So tonight, I want to talk about why healing is so important, you guys. Um, and if we don't heal, how we're left with open wounds. So I guess I'm gonna wait for a person to get on here. If not, I guess we're gonna be talking by ourselves. So we wait. We just look beautiful in the camera. Okay, so I don't got no viewers on here. So I'm about to talk by myself, cause yeah. So here it goes. Why healing is so important? You become an answer to other people's problems. God is able to use you for a purpose. Life will not feel like a burden. You'll begin to lean on God instead of drugs, alcohol, pills, and people for comfort or relief. You'll catch up to God's will and purpose that He has for your life. You'll never have to do life again by yourself. Why? Because you have God in your life, you have God with you. He will always give you language as to why you had to endure or why you had to suffer so much. When we don't heal, we are left with open wounds. And that's one of my main topics tonight, open wounds, when we don't heal from these things that we go through. Um, so quickly, I want to let you guys know the definition of open wounds. Open wounds is an injury that involves a break in the skin and leave the internal tissue exposed. The skin has an important role in protecting the organs, tissues, and other structures inside the body. So, a breach of the skin can potentially invite infections. If we take a look at our lives, the same process happens when we are left with anger, bitterness, rejection, childhood traumas, hate, unforgiveness, bad choices, and mistakes. When these things are left untreated, they become open wounds, you guys. Open wounds can eventually kill you if left untreated because you eventually give up on life. You will spend your entire life bleeding on people that you become depleted or even drained because of these open wounds. Those are the people that would tell you it is what it is. I live my life, and they would snap on you just for saying hi, just for saying hello. That's what they'll do because they're so hurt. And we all know that hurt people, you guys. They want to inflict the pain that they went through on others. It gives them a sense of relief at the moment. If we go back to what I said about open wounds in the skin, how a breach in the skin can potentially invite infections, and we look at our own lives with our spiritual eyes, if that open wound has been left open for years and years, we start to invite things like evil spirits, those wicked spirits, the ones that attack your mind. They feed off of your hurt, your pain, your emotions. Then these things become strongholds. They become familiar spirits. Um, so much so it becomes generational curses if you guys don't already know what that is. And they get passed down because we don't allow God to be God and allow Him to heal us. So these things actually stick with us. These spirits then they start to attack your thoughts. Those are the times that you be in deep thoughts about what happened to you. You're constantly in your past. You're not in the future. You're in the past and you're in the future. But most likely you're constantly in the past if you haven't healed from none of these things before. Um and it becomes a constant reminder. Like you could watch things on TV and it brings back memories. Every little thing your partner does, it reminds you of where you came from. Um or what someone did to you. Like you're constantly in your past. Every time a person say something you don't like, you're back in your past again. Like you live in your past, you guys. Then you start to think that something is wrong with you. You start to question yourself. You go see you might go see a psychiatrist or whatever the case may be, but we all know that they give you pills. These pills are only there to help you cope. That's it. They don't actually heal you from whatever you're going through. It helps you cope with the pain. That's it. So it's just helping you deal with it. Same thing that people do when they take drugs. It doesn't actually heal them, but it helps them to cope with the pain. Um, but what you're not realizing is that you're feeding these spirits. You're feeding them because they've been attached to you for so long that they start that you think it's you, but they're actually controlling you. Why are they controlling you? Because you gave up on yourself. You gave up on life. So now you think you blaming yourself, but actually if you look at it from a spiritual point of view, your spiritual eyes, you will realize that what you're dealing with is a spirit. These are spirits that's been attached to you for years, and now, like I said, they become strongholds. They become familiar spirits, and then they become generational curses. um and the only thing that's gonna help is reading the word. Reading the word can help you get through whatever you're going through. Um because God tells us that we only suffer for a little while, that he's the answer to all of our problems. Remember, we are problem solvers, but the only way we will find out this is if we let God into our life and heal those open wounds. We can't continue to go through life holding on to things that we wasn't meant to hold on to. We was not meant to come here to carry burdens. That was not the mission when God sent us here. We didn't come here to just be miserable, paying bills our whole lives, never actually living up to our potential. That's not what God put us here for. Now, I can tell you guys a little bit about my story. Not too much, but I spent my entire life because of what I went through, because of my environment, because of what I was raised around. And because of that, I grew up bitter. I grew up with unforgiveness in my heart. You know, I felt rejected all the time, and I felt resentment. You know, I resented other people's families because I didn't understand why I couldn't receive the same things that they were receiving at the time. You know, I grew up around around a family um that I grew up around drugs. I grew up around alcoholics. I grew up around mental, physical, and verbal abuse constantly. I had to grow up at an early age. I never knew what healthy looks like. These things to me was normal. Cussing each other out was normal for me. That was the life that I was used to because that's all I seen. Everyone around me have they basically gave up on life. Nobody took accountability. Nobody even said I loved you to each other. We never even gave each other hugs. And that was the story of my life for so long. That's the way I live for so long. And it became normal. Like I went through life just mad at the world because I had so much anger, I had so much pain, I had so much trauma, trauma on top of trauma, failures on top of failures. Nobody to talk to because everybody around me thought it was okay. Everybody around me believed in the same things. They only went so far in life and then they gave up. So they encouraged it. It was never an answer to a problem. It was always problems after problems after problems. So eventually, I did what everybody else did around me, turned to drugs. That's what I did. That was my coping mechanism. That was who I leaned it on for support because that's all I knew. That's all I grew up around. And it may not look like I may not look like that, but believe me, I came from a rough past, a rough life. Like my mental state was really screwed up. I didn't really care about life at all. Like I didn't care about life. So I went through life just with weight. I went through life with a whole bunch on my plate. That's what I'm trying to say. I carried a lot of weight for so long. Nobody to talk to, no genuine real friends in my circle at all. So I didn't really have nobody to come to talk about things. And if I did, it was like, oh yeah, everybody goes through that. Yeah, everybody has those problems. You'll be all right. You'll get better. And that was the story of my life. Meanwhile, I was bleeding out for real. I was bleeding out, and no one could see at all. Like I really had no hope in myself and no hope for my future or my life. But what I will say, when God came into my life, He really changed my life, you guys. He changed my whole entire life. He gave me answers to my problems. When I took that one small step in my life, everything around me changed. My whole entire life actually changed. God became the driver of my life, you guys. I had made so many bad decisions, so many bad choices, but God was still with me through my entire life. I never even knew this was possible. I didn't even realize that I could be on here talking to you guys right now because I had no hope for my life. I'm not supposed to be here talking to you guys because of the family I was in, because the environments that I was in. But when I tell you, God was just waiting for me to catch up. He saved me from so many things that I can't even imagine where I would be at if it wasn't for him. He saved me from myself, from destruction, the path that I was going down. But he stepped in and gave me hope, you guys. He gave me hope. And now I can get on here and I can help you guys get through the problems that you're going through. I can help people that been in bad situations like me, or been in environments or families like I have. When I took that small step of having faith, of trusting and believing, God did the rest. And this whole time, sometimes it doesn't look like you're doing anything. Sometimes it doesn't look like that you're moving, that he's moving on your behalf. But spiritually, he's working everything out. He's working your future and your plans out for your life. And things will eventually get better. Remember, the same spirit that raised God from the dead is the same spirit that lives in us. God is always behind the scenes working out the process. Remember, it's just like a kid when they first, started to ride a bike. They kept falling off, and they kept falling off, but eventually they got back up and they started, and eventually they got the hang of it, and they started riding. That's just like with God. Once we take the initiative to actually seek him, to actually have faith in him, he will do the rest for us. He will do the rest for us, you guys. But again, we cannot walk around here with open wounds, bleeding on everybody that come around. We have to heal to be an answer to someone else's problems. Healing is important, and we have to forgive one another. We have to forgive. Forgiving helps us forget. Forgiving actually helps us move on with our future. We cannot be in the past and be in the future at the same time. God can only do so much work when we're trying to hold on to open wounds, when we're trying to hold on to why someone did this to us. The only way we can truly actually heal, move on, and reap the things that God has for us is by healing and forgiveness. Forgiveness should be your best friend. Love should be your best friend. They said time heals all wounds, right? You can't hold on to your past and expect to have a future. It doesn't work that way. But I don't want to talk too long. I just came on here to let you guys know that um we have to let go, and we can't walk around with open wounds, because we start to invite other things that we have that we can't control. When we have open wounds, we invite spirits. Let's just get that out of the way. Like, we actually invite spirits. Like, we leave doors open for the enemy to come in and to attack us all sorts of ways that we can imagine, all off of one small wound. And we giving them rights. We basically give up our rights and allow the enemy to attack us because we keep holding on to things that's not of the spirit. The fruits of the spirit are love, forgiveness, kindness, gentleness, patience, self-control. All of these things are the fruits of the spirit. And we're not operating in the fruits of the spirit, then you're operating with something else, from something else. And that's not of God. And that's only because you have open wounds that you haven't let God heal you from your past, heal you from what people did to you. Those things don't matter. Like, God is above all of those things. He's bigger than those things. Your past ain't got nothing on your future. Believe me, your past ain't got nothing on your future. I'm telling you, if he can heal me, if he can deliver me, he can deliver anybody. He can deliver anybody if he can heal me. But you have to allow him to come in. You have to let go. You can't keep always wishing bad for people and snapping on any and everybody that comes your way. God did not put us here to be that type of person. It's clear in the Bible what how we should show up for one another, what we should do when it comes to one another, how we should help one another. The Bible is very clear on that. And again, if we're not operating with the fruits of the spirit, then we're operating and we're under another spirit, and it's not of God. It's not the Holy Spirit. That means you're operating in your flesh, and you cannot operate with the spirit if you're operating with your flesh, because then you're operating with your own will and your emotions, and you're telling God that you know what's best for yourself. You're not letting God be God. So again, you guys, this is my first live, and I know it was kind of all over the place, and I was kind of a little nervous too at the same time. And but we're gonna get better as we go. I've been talking to myself this whole time. Like, I had one viewer, viewer, one viewer, he went away, or whoever it was. But we're gonna get better at this, and I hope to have some audience in the future. But so far, this is where we're at. This is what it is. I'm definitely probably gonna look back on this video and laugh one day. But for the audience that I'm not speaking to, for the people that's not in the background, that's okay. I guess one day we'll have some people in the background, you know. But we're gonna do what the Holy Spirit tells us, and we're gonna let him lead the way. And this is why I jumped on here, and this is why I was obedient and did whatever my father wanted me to do. So this is definitely will be a learning curve and a learning experience. But anyway, I hope you guys have an awesome night. Stay blessed. Pray, repent every day. Make sure that you're believing and trusting in God's promises. And remember, God said, have faith as small as a mustard seed, which means even though you think that you're not making progress, believe me, you're making progress and you will see the fruits of your labor. Remember, God says we suffer for a little while, but then He will restore us, give us strength, and make us steadfast. We have to go through the same thing Christ went through, and depending on um depending on God's will for your life and the purpose, you're gonna go through some things. We're all gonna go through some things, but depending on what He has for your life, you may go through more than other people. You may fight every day. And remember, also be aware of this, that once you start to accept Jesus in your life, once you start to walk this journey out, there's going to be other problems that come with that. The spirit is going to constantly try to attack you. This is why you have to get in your word, because you have to be able to fight these spirits with your spiritual weapons. And you have to be able to know what's happening to you. so you won't get discouraged, so you won't be distracted, so you won't lose focus, because it gets worse before it gets better. And you may start off with God and everything may be all peaches and cream, and all of that, but then eventually He's going to put your faith to the test. And not only that, that involves the enemy attacking you. Attacking you. You're going to lose things. You're going to be separated from people. You're going to wonder why these things are happening to you. You're going to start questioning God. You're going to backslide. You're going to fall. You're going to stumble. But you get back up and you keep fighting. You keep fighting. Don't let go. You keep being a winner and you keep focusing on God. Don't listen to nobody around you. Nobody around you, because you are the only person that can answer to God. You're nobody else. So again, you guys, remember, you are an answer to a problem. You are an answer to a problem. You're beautiful. You're fearfully, wonderfully made. You're victorious. All of those good things. You're beautiful. And don't let nobody else ever tell you you're not. You're God's child. He made you. And when He made you, He made a beautiful flower. And anything He makes is good and beautiful all the way around. And remember, the good and the bad things work for God's good. Even those bad decisions, those bad choices, God still can use all of those things. Remember that. So, you guys, be great and have a good night.